Today, we are talking about emotional childhood. If we can figure out how to be emotional adults, everything changes. The way that I like to define it most simply is that you aren't taking responsibility for how you feel. We create all of our feelings with our thoughts. And so often, the way that we've been raised is to believe that our feelings are caused by the external world. So when we believe that we aren't responsible for our own feelings, we are in emotional childhood. We'll give you some words to help you describe it. So if you think about a child, they're dependent on their parents to solve their emotions. So they cry when they're hungry, they cry when they're hurt, they want something external to solve those very basic emotions. And as we get older, we are actually taught that external things cause our internal emotions. And so what it does is it creates this dependence on other people to create our feelings of positivity, but also we blame them and depend on them for our negative emotions. So everything is external. What's happening in the world is causing our emotions. What's happening with other people is causing our emotions. Circumstances are causing our emotions. So we're just feeling, when we're in emotional childhood, we're feeling like we're at the effect of the world. And that's when we're emotional childhood. We feel totally powerless and we're constantly trying to seek instant gratification from outside of us. Okay, we're always trying to solve for our emotions. Now, most adults function in emotional childhood. So when you ask someone, like if you see someone who's crying or you see someone who's upset and you ask them, why are you upset? Very rarely, unless you're in my community, very rarely will someone say, well, because of the way I'm thinking, right? Most people will say, well, this thing happened, or I'm having a bad day, or this person said this to me, or I have so much work to do. We attribute all of our feelings to external things, okay? So then what do we do when we're in emotional childhood? We try to go out there and change the world, change the people in the world, change the circumstances in the world so we can change how we feel. And this is incredibly compounded by the other concept that we're constantly taught, which is that we should be happy all of the time, right? So we have this, we should be happy all of the time belief system, and then we're not happy all of the time. And the reason we think we're not happy all of the time is because of all the external things that are happening in the world. So then we become control enthusiasts and we try to control the world. So we'll start changing jobs and changing friends and changing husbands and changing, our majors and changing our niches, right? We're trying to change everything that's happening in the world in order for us to feel better. Now, two things about that. It rarely works, first of all. And second of all, what it does, it perpetuates this idea that something external can change how we feel, when really what is happening is we are changing some external thing, then we're changing our thought about it, and then we're feeling better, and we're giving credit to that external thing, which perpetuates emotional childhood. So I want you to think about the areas in your life where you think something outside of you is providing you with happiness, or you think something outside of you is providing you with aggravation or frustration or pain. You're always wrong about it. Always wrong. Whenever you think there's something external out there causing your emotions, you're always in emotional childhood. Okay? So emotional childhood is relying on external things to change and external people to behave in a certain way so you can feel better, and blaming those circumstances, blaming those people for how you feel. Now, what we want to teach our clients to strive for and to work towards is how to become an emotional adult, how to be in emotional adulthood. And emotional adulthood is the flip side of emotional childhood, right? Emotional childhood is expecting the world to change so you can feel better, expecting the world to do different things so you can feel better. And emotional adulthood is taking full responsibility for every single feeling that you have. Now remember, feelings are the most important thing. They determine the quality of our lives. Everything in our life, right? Everything that we experience through emotion, through feeling. So when we can take control of our emotional life by learning the skill of emotional adulthood, we literally take control of our entire experience of being alive. So when people say to me, well, emotions aren't really, those are the soft things. So those really aren't that important. And I always laugh about that. I'm like, emotions are what get you all the important things. Whether it's, a PhD or more money or a successful relationship, being able to manage your emotions is the secret to all of those things. So emotional adulthood is really about ownership, which means you own that you are responsible for your own feelings. Responsibility, it's full responsibility for yourself. Now, a lot of people think, well, I shouldn't take responsibility if someone else is rude, or I shouldn't take responsibility if someone says something mean. You don't take responsibility for their actions, but you take responsibility for how you feel. No one else can make you feel anything without a thought that you have. Nothing. Okay? I'm talking about emotions. People can say what they will. People can try and hurt you. People can try and say terrible things to you, but it doesn't affect you until you have a thought about it. Now, I'm not suggesting if someone says something hurtful that you wouldn't want to feel hurt. I'm not saying that you should always just be like, I'm super happy no matter what anyone says to me. But what I am suggesting is that when someone says something, you own that the reason you feel hurt is because you believed them, or because you had a thought, they shouldn't say that about me, or I thought they loved me. You're going to have a thought that causes your own pain. I'm not suggesting that you don't want to have a thought when someone causes you pain. In fact, when somebody says something terrible to me, I want to feel terrible. Okay? If it's a person that I love and I really care about their opinion, right? But I know that the reason I'm feeling terrible is because of what I'm thinking. I also know that someone can say something terrible to me and it doesn't affect me at all because of what I'm thinking. I don't trust their opinion. I don't care about their opinion. I don't want to know their opinion, right? So same exact thing, different thought I have in my mind will determine how I feel. That's taking full responsibility for how I feel. It's all done internally. So when you recognize that your emotional life is generated from within you, 100%, all of your consciousness is generated from within you. Your emotions start with your thoughts and then travel to your body and give you the vibration and the experience of an emotion. It's all internal. So no matter what's happening out there, I get to decide what I want to believe and feel in here. I don't have to rely or be dependent on anyone else to behave in a certain way. I don't have to depend on the world to turn out a certain way. I don't have to depend on any kind of external thing to happen in order to manage my emotional life. This is our most powerful stance, because remember, the only reason we do or don't do anything is because of how we think it'll make us feel. There is nothing worse that can happen than an emotion. And there is no emotion that you aren't able to feel as a human being. No emotion can harm you, can kill you. You can just open up to any emotion. Then all of a sudden, the level of confidence that you have in your relationships, in your friendships, in your life, in your job, in every endeavor that you take on becomes this place of ultimate power, because you know that you are responsible for how you feel and that you can handle any emotion that you generate in your mind. Okay? So this is where we really want to work towards as it applies to emotional adulthood. Okay? It's not like, oh, I'm an emotional childhood, I'm bad. It's like, oh, when I'm an emotional childhood, I'm powerless. I don't have as much authority over my life. And when I'm in emotional adulthood, I am in total power of my life.